হ্যালো, হ্যাঁ বুঝছি বুঝছি সবকিছু ডান কলিং শিখে তারপরে চলে যাবো সবকিছু set। হ্যাঁ, ওকে, হ্যাঁ কোনো অসুবিধা নেই, ওকে খোদা হাফেজ। Hello, how's it going?
Hello, it's going well. Thank you.
Good, good, good. How do I pronounce your name? Is it pronounced
Mm,
Tajettin?
yes, yes, Tajettin. My name is
Tajettin.
Tajettin. Yes.
Are you from Turkey, Tajettin?
Yes, I am from Turkey. Where are you
Ah,
from?
çok güzel. I'm from the United States. Ben
Ah,
biraz Türkçe biliyorum. Biraz.
evet, çok güzel.
Teşekkürler.
Çok sevindim.
I was in Turkey in Ağustos from about just the last week of
Hmm,
August. So I was in Istanbul for one
hmm.
one week.
1 week.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
stayed
was
1 week in Istanbul.
I was in Istanbul one week, but 2 years ago I lived in Bursa for about 2 months.
Have you got any friends or relatives in Turkey?
I just have friends. I just have friends. Yeah, there's
Some
no.
friends, you have friends. Okay.
Yeah, kardeşlerim.
Kardeşleri. Hı hı.
Arkadaşlarım. Excuse me, sorry.
Arkadaşlar, yes.
Evet,
Yes.
evet, evet. But yeah, it's a very beautiful country. I want to visit Bursa. This last time when I went to Turkey, I wasn't able to go to Bursa, but Bursa is my favorite city. What part
Yes,
of
Bursa.
Turkey?
I live in southern part of Turkey, Hatay.
Antalya? Oh,
Hatay.
Hatay, Hatay. Oh, okay,
Hatay.
okay.
Yes.
Great. That's wonderful.
Yes.
You were saying something about Bursa, actually.
Yes, Bursa is a green city. Actually, it was more green in the past,
Uh-huh.
but nowadays there are some skyscrapers and many high buildings, and
Yeah, it's true.
yes, there is a mountain, Uludağ
Uludağ. Yeah,
mountain.
yeah,
Yes, ski
yeah.
center. It's a ski
Yeah,
center. It's
exactly, exactly.
nice. Mhm.
I love Uludağ. There's a lot of Uludağ themed uh, things in Bursa. So they have a gazoz actually named Uludağ Gazoz. I'm sure you know about it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
It's a nice drink.
it is a nice drink. Yeah, yeah. There's some nice things. That's awesome. And hey, we have another person from Turkey. Servet.
Yes,
Nasılsınız?
Yes,
evet.
hello.
Hello.
Teşekkürler.
So,
So,
how's
how's it going?
everything? Oh, everything's great. Everything's great. It's a nice day today. Um, Actually, I had a question for you, Tajuddin. How long have you been studying on here on Colingo?
Mm,
Can you guys hear
I'm
me?
not sure.
Uh-huh. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, maybe there's a connection problem. I was
Yes.
wondering. How long have you been learning English here on
Uh,
Colingo? Uh-huh.
I have been learning English with Colingo for 10 months.
10 months. Wow, that's great. I've only been teaching for 3 months actually. So
Yes, yes.
that's
I think it's the first class with you.
yeah, it
I've
definitely
just,
is.
yes.
It definitely is. Yeah, it's
I watched on the lobby before you,
uh-huh.
but I didn't have an opportunity to join.
Uh-huh. No, welcome, welcome. Hoş geldiniz. Really, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, so Servet, how's life in Istanbul?
It's fine as usual. It's a pretty beautiful day. Hot, warm. Um,
You know, there's a song called İstanbul'da Sonbahar.
yes.
Yeah, and I
Rahmet
always
Teoman, I guess.
I always think about that song because now it's the fall. I haven't been to Istanbul any time besides when it was the summer. So
Mhm.
so I haven't seen, the weather, and it gets really nice, I think, because it doesn't snow in Istanbul, right?
No, it snows in winter. Now it's
Oh,
now
okay.
it's early for snow.
Yeah. But do you guys get a lot of snow or
No,
not a lot,
I
I
think
thought.
no. Servet knows well, but it's no, not much. Is that
Yeah.
correct,
Yeah,
Servet?
where I live, it snows, but it's not like Russia or Canada. When it
Uh,
snows for a while. You can see the snow on the ground, but after a week it melts, and maybe for a month or so you don't have snow again.
yeah.
So it
We
is
have
not
some
like a
cities.
city. It is snowy whole winter, or when it snows, you see the snow. It doesn't melt throughout the whole winter. No, it's not like it snows. You see the snow, and after a while it melts, and it's again the same.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I know people in Bursa ski, Tajuddin, people in Bursa, they go up to Uludağ and there's that ski resort, so they ski there. But maybe there are other places near Istanbul where people can ski. Unfortunately, I have no idea. Uh, I've only been there in the summer.
In Erzurum, there is another ski center.
Uh-huh.
There is another ski center in Turkey.
Uh-huh.
Erzurum is the famous ski center. There was an Olympic winter sport,
Mm-hmm.
I guess 3 years ago
Mm-hmm.
in Erzurum,
Erzurum is in the Far East, right?
Palandöken. Yes, eastern part of Turkey.
Yeah. Eastern Anatolia.
Uh,
Uh-huh. Nice. Yeah, no, there's so much to see. I have to visit. I have to come back.
it is located Palandöken. The mountain, the mountain is Palandöken.
Uh-huh. Palandöken. Palandöken, uh-huh.
Yes.
Nice, that's awesome. When I was in Bursa, I met one student from Erzurum, and he told me come to Erzurum, come to like Rize, like Trabzon, Samsun, all those cities in the north. He said it was a very nice place. But if I can go back, I would go to two places. I would go to Cappadocia I want to see Konya, and I also want to see definitely Karadeniz, so the north. Yeah,
Yes.
because it's beautiful. Maybe Hatay also, Tajuddin.
Yes.
I haven't thought of Hatay.
Yes. I will be happy if you visit Hatay.
Yeah, it's nice. Hatay is beautiful from what I hear. The culture is very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Multicultural society. There is a multicultural society in Hatay. There are many uh, different religious people,
Uh-huh.
Muslims, Christians, Jewish, and Arab, Turkish.
Mm-hmm.
There are different ethnic origins, and they live within peace together in Hatay. It's
Yeah.
an example,
It's a
good
yeah,
example.
exactly. It's a rare example in the Muslim world, right? Usually in the Muslim world we don't have such peace between different groups, but yeah, Turkey's great. Turkey, I was not disappointed at all. Wherever I went, people were very welcoming. Hospitality is on another level. I mean, because my parents are from Bangladesh, we are very hospitable also, especially if it's a foreign person, if it's guests. We really try to show our best, to the travelers. Turkey was another level higher. I don't know. I mean, very, very nice people. So it was great. Um, well, guys, let's get started then. Thank you for coming once again. We're about 12 minutes past the hour. Just wanted to give you guys a quick overview of what we're going to be discussing today. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about, the grammar lesson for today is actually using prepositions to and for in advanced situations. So we use to and for many times to describe other kinds of prepositions. Like when you're talking about a destination, I am going to, Istanbul or something like that. But to and for are also very necessary when we are talking about certain verbs. Certain verbs have to have to and for with them in order to make sense. So we will review that, and then we will actually go right into the second part, which is we're going to be discussing a travel article about a passenger who decided not to listen to the instructions of the flight attendant. So caused some problems, and we're going to learn maybe how we can, work around those kinds of situations in the future. So if there's no questions, guys, let's get started. Oh, Soso just joined. Hey, Soso, how's it going?
Hello, I'm good, thank you.
Good, good. Welcome. So we were just about to get started, Soso. Great timing on your part. I was going to ask everyone in the class to I was going to ask them this question because it relates to our article today. Would you ever refuse to listen to someone's instructions? Maybe you're on a bus and the bus driver says something, or you're on a plane and the pilot or the flight attendant says something, or anywhere like on a train and somebody with authority tells you to do something. Would you ever refuse to listen to them in that situation? Let's start with Tajuddin, actually.
Actually, I didn't refuse before. I think these instructions are very important, and we should be obey these instructions for our safety reasons.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's important to. I think I agree with you, Tajuddin. It's important to listen to them because they could be important. Absolutely. So what do you think about those instructions? If somebody's giving them to you, would you ever refuse to listen to them?
Actually, it depends. If it is hurting me or hurting my own sake, I won't listen to it. I put myself over everything.
Okay. That's also a good point, right? Maybe you're in a situation where you know the reality better than the person giving you the instructions, right?
Yeah.
Great. That's another point. What about you, Servet? Do you agree with Tajuddin, or do you agree more with Soso, or?
I think sometimes security measurements can be a bit tough to to count every single, maybe even little possibilities into account and
Mhm.
make people safe. But generally, since they are professionals or they are more experienced than us, if there is nothing so disturbing, we should keep obeying their instructions.
Yeah, absolutely. You should not refuse to listen to their instructions, right? So great job, guys. Thank you for those responses. So when I was asking this question, we saw an example of a verb that uses to, right? So refuse to, right? This is what we're going to be discussing right now when we talk about the grammar part, right? There are many verbs that require these additional prepositions, and refuse is one of them. Okay, so what are some other examples of these verbs where in English we really need to use them, to use to in order to actually make sense of the sentence, right? So let me start with an example. If you say in English, I want some ice cream, right? You're just saying the verb want without any prepositions, without to, without anything like that, right? The meaning is different. I want ice cream, okay, you want ice cream, right? If you say I want or I refuse to eat ice cream, right? Then it's a completely different situation from I refuse ice cream, right? So want and want to are different, just as refuse and refuse to are different, right? If I say I want ice cream, that's one meaning. Then if I say I want to get ice cream, it's not going to work, right? I need that to in the middle. I want to get ice cream. So want to has a different use and a different meaning than just normal want. Similarly, if you say something like I refuse ice cream, maybe right now you don't want it, right? Maybe right now you don't want it, you're not in the right mood for it or whatever. But then if you use refuse to get something, I refuse to get it, that might mean that you're too lazy. You don't want to go and get the ice cream. But if somebody brought the ice cream to you, you would still have it. So that's why we need to be careful of when we use these verbs, to and for, and these other kinds of verbs. And we need to use these words like to and for appropriately when we are actually making our sentences, right? Marcelo, how's it going? Tudo beleza, professor?
Tudo, tudo beleza, professor.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, Ken,
Good to
how's it
see you
going?
too.
Yes, I'm fine. How are you?
Welcome, welcome. Good, good. Thank you. So we were just talking about these verbs that use to and for. There are differences between, for example, want to and want, right? If you want something, you can say, I want, I don't know, food. But then if you say, I want to, you need to use another verb, right? You need a verb, and you can say whatever you want. So, yeah.
May I ask a question, Farah?
Yes.
Refuse to a phrasal verb, or want to is a phrasal verb, or if not, what is the difference between phrasal verb and this?
Very, very good question, Tajuddin. Refuse to and want to, these are actually not phrasal verbs, because phrasal verbs are words that are verb phrases that use standard English phrases, things that by themselves would not be verbs at all, right? So, or usually they could have maybe parts of verbs in them, but we use them in different contexts. For example, there are many phrasal verbs out there, right? So, for example, something like
Give
I don't
up,
know.
for example.
Look
Give
for.
up.
Look for.
Yeah, give up, look for, break out. All of these types of examples, they don't necessarily use. Sometimes they do use prepositions, like we see for as a preposition. Look for works in that sense. But I guess, Tajin, that's a great question. They're grouped differently in English, right? We don't see these want, for example, want to or refuse to, those are considered a version of that verb want from the very beginning, right? Want to by itself cannot survive as a phrase, right? Like You can say you need another verb with want to make it a complete sentence, right? Whereas the phrasal verb actually by itself is a verb, right? You don't have to add anything to it. So if I say, for example, I give up, fine, that's a completely fine sentence in English, right? I give up. But want to is incomplete, right? Because you need that other verb. Refuse to, you need that other verb, right? I refuse to go somewhere. I refuse to do something. But I give up? Okay, sure, you give up, right? Look for, once again, Marcelo, that was Marcelo's example, right? Look for can stand by itself. It doesn't need any other verbs, right? I am looking for my phone, right? There are no other verbs. But with these, whenever we use want to, refuse to, whatever, then we need to use other verbs to make it a complete sentence. Does that help, Tajuddin?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got it.
So let's take a look, guys. What are some of these other verbs that use to? We're focusing on to and for specifically, right? So what are some of these verbs that require to?
Ask for. Ask for.
Ask for definitely is one of them, right? So if we do ask for, what about one with to, Tajuddin? Something with to.
I look to you as the greatest teacher.
I look to somebody. Okay, exactly, right? You can look to somebody, right? You can look up to somebody also. These are all phrases, right?
Look to somebody.
Yeah, let's go in order, guys. Though. So Tajuddin, can you give me one example of to? Have to, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. I have to do something, right? Have and have to are very different, right? I have a phone, right? I have to buy a phone. Once again, you need the other verb, right? Fantastic. So, what's another example of a verb that needs a to?
Listen to.
Listen to, right? Fantastic, fantastic. I need to listen to somebody, right? Tajuddin, once again, need to, fantastic, right? You need these phrases. Listen to can also serve as, listen to you can use just by itself, right? You don't need another verb. So it's not phrasal, but it's an example of a verb that requires to, right? I listen to somebody or whatever. Great job. And then need to as well, Tajuddin. I need to go somewhere. I need to do something, right? What about you, Marcelo? Another verb with to.
Think to.
Think to. Yeah, can you use that in a sentence? How can you use think to?
I think to you.
I think to you. So is your meaning that you're thinking about somebody?
Or I think no, it's not good.
Or you're thinking of somebody, because there are a couple of different ways, right? So in English, think to may not work, Marcelo. It depends on the situation, right?
Think to. Yeah.
Yeah, it might not be the best example. We can say I think of somebody or something. I'm thinking of going to the mall, right? I'm thinking of you. You're talking to somebody. Oh, I missed you. I'm thinking of you.
Get to.
Get to. Yeah, why not? Get to, right? They use different, these different types of categories. So get to. I need to get to some location.
I get to the office late.
I get to the office late, or yeah, I got to the office late. Yeah, I think that would work also, Marcelo. Looking forward to, Tajuddin, is also another good example, right? Looking forward to something. So there are actually, guys, maybe I should have been a little bit more direct. There are actually three categories of verbs that usually, actually four categories of verbs that use to, right? So the first one is interest, right? A verb that implies interest of some kind. I refuse to, I'm willing to, right? Words like that. Then there's desire, right? So interest is one, desire is another one. I want to, for example, that we saw before. And then the third one is intention, right? If you intend to do something, I plan to do something, right? Plan is another one of these verbs that we can use. And an obligation. So we heard this from Tajuddin before. Obligation, something like I need to, I have to, right? Ken, could you give us one example that uses to, please?
To, got to, have to, reach to. Reach
I
to.
reached to. So you reached a destination, right?
Yes.
Reached to. I think it works. I think it works because we sometimes say. Sometimes we actually get rid of the to, don't we, Ken? Because sometimes you say, "I reached my destination," right? We usually say arrived to though.
I am.
Arrived to, but reach we also say. Sometimes we actually don't have the to with reach, right? Tajuddin, I like your example. Happy birthday to you. But in this case, it's actually just a preposition, right? Because we don't really have a verb in that example. So, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to somebody else, right? And Servet, last but not least, could you give us an example of a verb that uses to?
For example, we can say I bought this for you. We don't say I bought this to you.
I bought this for you would be a little bit better, right?
Yes.
Think about one of these categories, Sarah, that might be easier. So if you're thinking about an interest in doing something, a desire for something, an intention of something, or an obligation, right? Those are some good categories to think about if you want to direct your thinking.
I washed my hands to prepare myself for cooking.
Yeah, okay, so to prepare yourself. So if you are getting ready to, the intention of something, right? So this one would be that third category. So I am doing something to prepare myself, or I plan to do something or prepare to do something. Yeah, that's a good use of that word. Absolutely. Guys, any questions about to so far? What we use them for? Most of you guys, I think, grasp the idea very effectively when it comes to using them. Some of them we used a little bit of phrasals and some other examples.
What about nice to meet you?
Yeah, nice to meet you, right? So it's nice because that's a good example because you're saying, you are describing, I guess, an interest in somebody, like that they have arrived and you are nice to see that you are nice to have seen them. It was nice for you to have seen them, things like that, right? So yeah, that works definitely, Tajuddin. Marcelo, I'm figuring on to travel to New York. What do you mean by that?
Make plan. And figuring on is make plan.
Yeah, so I'm figuring out how to travel to New York, right?
Not at all.
Would be a little bit better. I'm figuring out how to travel to New York, right? And figure out is actually a phrasal, right?
And figuring on.
Yeah. So we don't actually use figuring on, we use figuring out.
Okay, figure on, the means is
planning something.
Is another. Okay.
Yeah. Planning something, figuring out the details is to plan the details, prepare for things that will happen, right? So yeah, those are all good examples, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to stop me anytime during the class, because I really liked it when you guys mentioned, especially I think it was you, Tajuddin. You mentioned the difference between phrasal, right? Phrasal and these things can get confusing. Yeah, go ahead, Marcelo.
I saw it in an article, I don't remember. He's figuring on a way to get rich quick by smuggling drugs.
In that example, Marcelo, it's got to be out. Figuring on a way, we always say in English, figuring out a way, figuring out something. Yeah, that's a phrasal. Maybe the person who wrote it made a mistake, but he's figured out a way to get rich quick by smuggling drugs. Yeah, that would make complete sense, figuring out. Okay, so let's look at, absolutely. So let's look at for, guys, for, right? So we use verbs in for in really very similar ways, right? So just like we used the verb in to, we can use a verb and for. And there are three main categories, right? So we use for usually for feelings, right? So if we are talking about somebody is happy for somebody, sad for somebody, right? Maybe something happened to a friend that is, maybe your friend lost his job, right? I feel sad for him. I feel, sad for him. I don't feel good for him, whatever the case might be, right? So that's one category. You can feel excited for somebody. Maybe somebody's going to get married, right? You can feel excited for them. Or maybe not, because maybe some of you know marriage is not that fun. Purpose for action, right? A purpose for an action also uses for. So if you have a purpose behind something, you have a reason for something, we use for, right? So if you are focusing on, let's say, you are waiting for somebody, right? That there's a purpose behind your question. Yeah, I am sorry for this problem. Well, in that example, Tajuddin, sorry is I am sorry for this problem. It's a feeling, yeah, right? Because you can be happy for something, you can be sad for something, excited, sorry, right? Absolutely. So that works. That works. Sorry for someone, sorry for something, yeah. So think about purposes for action, guys, right? There has to be a reason for the action that you're doing. You can be waiting for somebody. You can be, I don't know, you can give somebody a payment for something, right? So this is payment for your car that I damaged yesterday, whatever the case might be. So I am paying you for your time. You can pay somebody for something, right? And then the last category is descriptions of maybe people, right? So descriptions we use a lot when we are talking about why somebody is famous. Maybe he is famous for his wealth, right? Like Bill Gates, he's famous for his wealth. He's famous for his good looks. I don't know, you could talk about some actor or something, right? So feelings, purposes of behind actions, descriptions, right? These are three kind of big categories. Let's start with Serveth now. Let's go to the right, guys. Serveth, would you mind giving me an example of a verb, or actually just a sentence that uses a verb and for, maybe?
Maybe we can prepare for a wedding.
Mm-hmm. You can prepare for a wedding, right? So I am preparing for my wedding. That would be a correct sentence, right? So one of the ways we can make these phrases, actually, guys, is we use the subject, and then you can use the verb to be, right? And then you can use an adjective and a for, or whatever the case might be. You don't necessarily have to follow this, but it's one example, right? So for example, I am happy. I'm requesting to repay for my damage. Yeah, Tajuddin, that's really good. You're using both of them, right? You're using a verb in to and a verb in for, right? That's a great example. But we can also, in the case of for, we can say, for example, I am happy for somebody, right? So that's the construction that I gave you guys there. When it's talking about feelings, you can talk about things like that. But Serveth, you're absolutely right. I am preparing for my exam, right? I'm preparing for the wedding, right? Those are good ways to think about it. Sometimes prepare, we also said prepare works for to, right? So sometimes we have some overlap between these verbs. Ken, what about you? Let's give another example.
Using for.
Using for, yeah.
Okay. I'm ready for. I'm ready for the concert.
I'm waiting for the concert. Yeah, fantastic. Or maybe a type of transportation, right? I'm waiting for the bus. I'm waiting for somebody, right? Those are all good examples. Marcelo, so maybe it's more suitable for business. Yeah, absolutely. That works great. Which of the three categories would that be under, Marcelo? Would it be under feelings, purpose, description? What do you think? Oh, I think he muted himself. Okay, we'll come back to him then. Sosa, what about you? What about another example using a verb in for?
I'm responsible for my own actions.
Fantastic. I am responsible for my own actions, right? And which category would that be under, Soso? This is kind of a hard one, actually. There might not be a right category. Because could it be purpose? No, not really. Maybe it'd be a feeling, like a feeling of responsibility. People say sometimes that there's a feeling of responsibility, so I think that would work. Hey, Marcelo, are you back?
Yeah, sorry, I was drinking some water.
No problems. I was wondering, so you wrote, maybe it's more suitable for business, right?
Yeah, maybe it's more suitable for business.
That's a great example, right? Something is suitable for something. This is not suitable for you. This is not good for you, right? So suitable is kind of like a feeling almost, right? You're saying if something is good for somebody, something is appropriate for somebody.
Okay, could I say maybe it's more suitable to him or to her? Or
No,
to
you would have to use
business, to
you'd
the
have to use
business.
you'd have to use for that.
Okay.
Yeah, suitable for somebody, suitable for something. Yeah. So for is good. What you wrote was great the first time. And Tajuddin, last but not least, I didn't regret for anything that I did. You know, that is one of those phrases where regret is sometimes used with for and also without for, Tajuddin. So in this example, I didn't regret. You can say, because, this is very good. Very, very good question. You would actually, I think, Tajuddin, it sounds a little bit better to say, I didn't regret anything that I did, if we don't use a for in this example. But if you want to use for, you can say, I don't have regret for anything that I did, right? Or I don't, regret is one of those things, regret for something. It really depends on the context, Tajuddin. I don't have regret, or I don't regret anything that I did. I think what you have will work, Tajuddin. I think what you have will work, but it's also correct to say I didn't regret anything that I did. We can actually remove the for in this example, right? Would there be another example that you can think of maybe that is more clear cut? This one is good, but it can go two ways, right? What about maybe a purpose for action example? Or any other verb that you can think of maybe that uses for.
I can't remember now for an action.
No
Maybe
problems.
later.
Sure. When we get into the article, we can definitely start looking at some of those examples. All right, guys. So any questions, guys, about 2 and 4, about any of the verbs that we looked at or phrases that you guys had in mind?
No.
Make sense? Servet and Ken also?
Yeah, no question.
Okay, great, awesome, guys. Let me know, though, because I know we don't have, sometimes we run out of time a little bit, but definitely let me know. Okay, so let's take a look at our article today, guys. And Ken and Marcelo, I don't think I was able to tell you guys, but today's article is actually about a lady who refused to listen to the instructions of a flight attendant, right? And as a result, she was actually kicked off of the plane, right? So it's actually kind of a silly situation, I think, if somebody is waiting for you to do something or is requesting that you do something. It's foolish to resist and say, I don't want to do this, I don't want to listen to you, right? It just doesn't make sense for me. But there's the article, guys, and I will also...
Can I ask for your help?
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Can I ask for your help? Yeah, absolutely. You can ask somebody for something. Absolutely. Absolutely. Can I ask for your help? Guys, when you open the video, it could launch the... when you open the link, it could open the video. Just pause the video. You know, my apologies for that. I didn't realize the video would start immediately. So, all right. Let's get started, guys, and let's see what we are learning about here. So, woman forced off flight, charged for not turning off cell phone, right? So this is what happened. She was actually charged. A woman who was forcibly removed, I'm sorry, I can't even start. A woman was forcibly removed from a US Airways flight on Sunday for refusing to comply. Refusing to comply, right? Another one of these examples. Refusing to, and then this is comply means agree or, you know, obey. Refusing to comply with flight crew instructions. Much of what appears to have happened was videotaped by a fellow passenger, Howard Woods, and posted to YouTube. The flight, US Airways 906, was bound for Charlotte, North Carolina from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. According to a report obtained by ABC News from the Broward County Sheriff's Office, passenger Lindsay Bien-aime refused to comply with flight attendant instructions prior to takeoff and became unruly. Okay, if somebody's unruly, they're not behaving, right? They're becoming hard to deal with. The pilot ordered the woman off the plane. Despite orders from Broward County officers who had boarded the flight, Bien-aime continued to refuse to exit the plane and became irate. Irate means extremely angry, right? She became irate, screaming and yelling profanities. Profanities are bad words, you know. She started cussing, she started screaming, and it was not a good situation. ABC News attempts to reach Bien-aime or a representative were not successful. On the 4-minute profanity-laced video, right? So this video is full of profanity, full of bad language. A woman is heard shouting not only at the officers trying to remove her from the flight, but at the passengers around her. I will hold up this whole expletive plane, right? So she was swearing, I will hold up this whole plane. The woman can be heard saying, I don't care where people gotta go, right? So she didn't care that she was causing such a problem. If she had her way, she would have probably stayed on the flight and caused all these people to be delayed, right? In the video, the woman can be heard repeatedly requesting a flight attendant come to her seat and explain what she had done wrong before she would leave the plane. Another voice can be heard saying, she has been on her phone the whole time, right? So she wasn't going to get off the plane. She was refusing to do so, and she wanted a flight attendant to come to her to explain what was going on, right? When the woman still wouldn't budge, when she still wouldn't move, the officers attempted to handcuff her, and a scuffle ensued, right? A scuffle is when two people are kind of like fighting, but not really, you know, I want to grab your hand, you want to punch me in the face, right? It's a scuffle, it's a small fight. And a scuffle ensued or began. Two more people who appeared to be passengers came to the aid of the officers. According to the police report, Bien-aime scratched, kicked, and violently resisted attempts to remove her from the plane. She was charged on 3 counts, including battery, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest with violence. So when she was taken to jail, she got 3 charges. Pretty serious charges, honestly. I mean, if you're fighting a police, like a police officer, it's not going to be good. The incident comes on the heels of another in which a group of 100 students were kicked off an AirTran flight when some of them would not comply with flight attendants' requests to put away mobile devices. US Airways did not respond to ABC News' request for a comment, right? So, kind of a crazy situation, guys. I mean, this woman is screaming and yelling and refusing to refusing to turn off her cell phone. That was the entire issue. The flight attendant said, turn off your cell phone. She said, no. Why do I have to do this, right? What's your reaction to this? Let's start with Servet. What do you think about this article, Servet?
I think the situation is pretty clear, and I don't know what was a bit unclear that she wanted a flight attendant to come and explain her what she had done wrong. Basically, cell phones disrupts airplane signals, and it makes it difficult to communicate with the land officers, the officers on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So she needed to close it and she needed to turn it off.
Exactly.
That was the problem. And after this, her reaction is also a bit too extreme. I don't know if there was a small discussion, argument, and maybe what looks like she was too angry, she was giving too big reactions.
Yeah. What would you do, Servet, if you were on that plane, maybe near her? Would you do anything?
Trying to explain her the situation, like look like a good police officer, guys. Like, maybe she didn't like the officers there and got angry. maybe it's better to talk to them in a different way, or that maybe you could
Yeah,
explain the situation.
exactly. Maybe use another approach, right? Because police can be very intimidating, right? I mean, they have guns, they are big, they're scary, right? So maybe a passenger could, explain the situation to the patient, or to the not the patient, to the woman in this case, right? Absolutely, Sarah. That's great. We're going to come back. We're going to ask you some more questions, Sarah. But Ken, what about you? What would you do if you were if you were in that area, or what's your reaction to this? I mean, isn't this kind of crazy?
I don't know her situation. What her situation? So maybe there's unlimited as a customer to deal with that, because without knowing the exact situation of her.
Mm-hmm. And it's something that, I mean, generally though, when somebody refuses to do something, the reason needs to be pretty clear, right? I mean, if you're on a plane, you are kind of handing over responsibility of your safety and the safety of everybody else to the pilot and the staff, right, and the crew. So from that, I mean, sometimes you have to follow rules, right? I think that's what what this airline was trying to enforce, was you have to follow rules, right? It doesn't matter if you don't want to turn off your cell phone. You need to turn off your cell phone. You're on a plane. If you need to use the cell phone, then I'm sorry, you can't be on the plane, right? I mean, there's a reason for actions, right? So maybe that was a reason that she became so irate, right? But would you do something different if you were on the plane, Ken? Would you maybe try to talk to her? Would you try to calm her down?
As a passenger?
As a passenger, yeah. If you were like maybe sitting next to her or something.
But her reaction is pretty extreme. Maybe it's very difficult to deal with that kind of people.
Yeah, the article said that she was screaming at the police. She was also screaming at the other passengers.
Yeah.
Right? So I wouldn't want to receive that kind of negative attention from her, right? I mean, whatever. I'm minding my own business, right? I'll keep my mouth shut. I'll do what I was doing, right? Sometimes that's the best approach, right? Awesome. Okay, great, Ken. Marcelo, what's your feeling about all of this?
Yeah, I think she's a little crazy, putting everyone's safety at risk.
Yeah.
I think would it be more suitable to turn off the phone. I would help the police to pull her out of the plane.
Really?
Yeah.
Two people did do exactly that, right? Two people actually did help the police remove her from the plane, right? But Marcelo, I have a question for you. Do you think there was a need to force this woman off the plane?
But not to force. It's hard to say that, because I think she must have her rights,
Yeah.
In my point of view, I think maybe to take the smartphone of her and turn off. Someone should take the smartphone of her and turn off the cell phone. Not putting her out of the plane, but taking the smartphone and turn off.
Mm-hmm.
And turn off and keep their smartphone with I don't know, with the employees, not employees, the workers of the.
Yeah. Someone on the crew, right? Someone on the flight crew, exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely, right? Maybe that would be a good alternative, right? But I don't know, things didn't happen that way, unfortunately. So we'll see maybe why the reasoning was kind of like that. What about you, Tajuddin? What do you think about this?
Actually, I mentioned about my opinion at the beginning of the class. Everyone should to obey these rules, these instructions, because of safety reasons. And however, the cabin crew should be polite. And if I were on this plane, and I would try to be polite, and I will try to warn warn this woman. And for example, I can say that, excuse me, sorry, madam, I'm sure this phone call is very important for you, but your behavior can cause many problems for us. Uh, would you? I request for him to close her mobile phone.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's fantastic, right? The actual conversation that you would have with this person would be exactly what you said, right?
Yes, I think that what to say is important. What we say is very important, but how to say is also very important. We should be very polite, even if we are saying correct thing, even if we have a right. We have right.
Absolutely. The way we say things are maybe as important as the what we say. Absolutely. But you know, when it comes to this situation, it seems to me like this lady was being very unruly, very difficult to deal with, right? I mean, usually if something happens on a plane in the United States, everybody gets a little suspicious. Everybody gets a little worried. If you want to throw a circus, don't throw it on a plane, right? Really, that's almost common sense. You know, we live in the post 9/11 world. People are very sensitive about anything that happens on flights, right? So that might have also been one of the reasons behind how this was dealt, right? I think her attitude was partly to blame, right? Because if I refuse to do something, I'm going to be polite about it, right? I'm going to say, you know, please, I need to use the make this phone call. Could I please make it? If the person says no, fine. I have to turn off my phone. But she wanted an explanation as to why she should be removed from the plane, or why the police were on the plane and all of this stuff, right? It had to be a more prolonged kind of thing, right? Flight first, the crew tells her. She doesn't listen. The crew calls the cops. Then the cops show up, and she still doesn't listen. Then they force her off the plane, right? So she had more than one chance, I feel like, but still she didn't, you know, comply. She didn't obey the request, unfortunately. Um, I don't know. It's difficult, right? Servet, do you think? Have you ever been in a situation like this where you've had to, you know, see somebody deal with a crazy situation, like on a
No.
bus or on a plane? I saw it actually in the taxi stand in Yenikapı in Istanbul. Two people started fighting each other, right? Just maybe 2 feet from me, or you know, half a meter from me, or something like that, right? Very, very close. I was like, wow, you know, two taxi drivers just started fighting each other, and then soon one guy, his friends joined, the other guy, his friends joined. See you later, Tajuddin. It's good to see you. And then it just became like a scuffle. You know, one guy was bleeding. You know,
Hmm.
as a bystander, should we react, or should we let the situation take care of itself? What do you think?
The situation is a bit scary. You need to be able to handle the situation physically and mentally.
Uh-huh.
And just you might feel responsible, but when you get in this, you need to be able to protect yourself, and you need to have this physical strength. You need to be like a Rocky.
Yeah, right. Because seriously, these two taxi drivers. I mean, I'm a foreigner. I don't know what they're saying, why they're starting to fight, but they were so close to me. I was like, wow, what is going on? They just started like fighting each other. I think there was a debate over whose passenger was who, right? So maybe one guy took the other guy's passenger. The other guy came up to him and said, "Why'd you do this?" The other guy said, He's my passenger." Then he just punched him in the face. You know, I mean, like instant. I was like, wow, this is better than TV, right? This is live, you know. But it was kind of crazy. The police didn't show up. They were just, you know, like They came in after maybe a few minutes, but I was already gone. So, yeah, it's difficult, sir, but I agree with you, right? We need to protect ourselves. Ken, have you been in a situation like this before? You've seen somebody act unruly. Did you react, or how would you react, do you think?
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Marcelo. Yeah, Ken, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. At the Walmart store in America,
Uh-huh.
while I was waiting the bus, and well, old woman, bringing her shopping cart to reach to her car. All of a sudden, the person, driver, on that car, shouted at her, "Get out of the road!"
Oh,
I was
wow.
shocked. What happened? Because old woman, just bring her carriage to the car. Actually, he have to wait for that because old woman cannot walk so quickly.
Yeah.
But that old woman strike back him to say something about that because I
Wow.
have that. So
Wow.
that was a bit shocking incident.
Did you
Yeah.
did you go up and fight the guy who was yelling?
Actually, it's not so quite close, and I'm afraid he might have gone.
Yeah. That's always a that's always a cause for
It's not
concern.
Japan, it's America, so so I
Exactly.
was really shocked. Wow, what happened? And
Yeah.
but so that's it, and that incident, ended.
Yeah.
So
Did the woman get out of the way, or was she still?
no, because she can't proctor technically.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to do that actually.
Yeah.
If driver asks her that clearly he doesn't know what the way of talking, the
Absolutely.
manner. Yeah.
Yeah. Completely impolite. Where were you, if you don't mind me asking, Ken?
In the Walmart store.
But in
Yeah.
what state or what city?
Yeah, Georgia.
Georgia. Atlanta?
Small town close to Atlanta.
Oh, small town close to Atlanta. Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Interesting.
Usually the town's atmosphere is very peaceful, but
Yeah.
mm,
We have crazy people everywhere, unfortunately, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
rude people as well. Yeah, Marcelo. So, what would you say? You're asking her about a parachute. What's going on? I mean,
Yeah, I think it would be more suitable to throw her out of the plane when it was flying. Like,
oh
well,
my God.
before I would ask her if she was wearing a parachute, no. I'd throw her
No,
out.
that's funny. But
I'm just kidding.
it's crazy though. I mean, what would you have you ever seen somebody do this though, or not do this exactly? But have you been in a situation, Marcelo, where two people start doing something and you're just watching? But have you been in those kinds of situations before?
No, I've never seen it before.
Okay.
Because I am even mainly in airplane, in
Yeah,
on flight or in flight,
on a flight.
on
Uh-huh.
flight.
On a flight, yes.
Yeah, because I'm a little scared. I don't like to flight.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying even outside a plane, just in normal society, did you ever see somebody fight somebody, or did you see crazy things happen between people and you just
Yeah, I've heard. I've seen last week. I saw a couple fighting in the street on the street, and
wow.
the man was slapping her face.
No way.
Yeah, I saw it. But we can't do anything.
Well, why
It's
didn't you call the
difficult.
cops? You could have called the police.
Yeah, maybe, but I didn't think about it.
Yeah. Now here,
To call it.
if you see a couple hitting each other on the street here, if the man especially, if the girl is hitting the man,
It's okay.
Yeah,
maybe okay. But if the guy is hitting the girl, no way. You got to call the cops because
yeah.
that's abuse.
But I think it's a fight of couple.
Yeah.
The boyfriend and the girlfriend.
But it's in a public space. If they want to fight, they can do it in their house.
Okay.
Right. I mean, I'm saying the very American standpoint, right? It's if it's in a public space, and if you see somebody actually getting hurt as a result of somebody else's actions, somebody's actually hitting somebody in the face. No, you can call the cops. If the cops can find the guy, he's
Yeah,
done.
the problem here, because when you call the cops, they spend a lot of time to get there, so I think it's
No, they
not
take their
useful.
time, right? They take their
Yeah,
time.
maybe 15 or 15 minutes, or you know.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting, interesting. Well, guys, did you guys have any questions about the stuff we talked about today, verbs 2 and 4, as well as the, the article when people are refusing to do things, what do we do?
No,
Any questions about any of that stuff, guys?
no question. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, no problems, guys. I have another class starting in 1 hour. I know it could be late for you guys, but otherwise, thank you for being here, and thank you for a great conversation as
Thank you.
always.
Bye bye.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
awesome,
See
Ken.
you.
Servet,
Bye.
Marcelo. See you guys. Bye bye.
There is a mountain, Uludağ
Uludağ. Yeah,
mountain.
yeah,
Yes, ski
yeah,
center. It's a ski
yeah.
center. It's
Exactly, exactly.
nice. Mhm.
I love Uludağ. There's a lot of Uludağ themed things in Bursa. So they have a gazoz actually named Uludağ gazoz. I'm sure you know about it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
It's a nice drink.
it is a nice drink. Yeah, yeah. There's some nice things. That's awesome. And hey, we have another person from Turkey. Servet, nasılsınız?
Yes, evet.
Hello.
Hello.
Teşekkürler.
So,
So,
how's
how's it going?
everything? Oh, everything's great. Everything's great. It's a nice day today. Actually, I had a question for you, Tajuddin. How long have you been studying here on Colingo?
Mm,
Can you guys hear
I'm
me?
not sure.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, maybe there's a connection problem. I was wondering. How long have you been learning English here on Colingo?
I have been learning English with Colingo for 10 months.
10 months. Wow, that's great. I've only been teaching for 3 months actually. So
Yes, yes.
that's,
I think it's the first class with you.
yeah, it definitely
Yes,
is.
yes.
It definitely is. Yeah, it's
I watched on the lobby before you,
uh-huh.
but I didn't have an opportunity to join.
Uh-huh. No, welcome, welcome. Hoş geldiniz. Really, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Servet, how's life in Istanbul?
It's fine as usual. It's a pretty beautiful day. Hot, warm. Um,
You know, there's a song called İstanbul'da Sonbahar.
yes.
Yeah, and I always think about that song because now it's the fall. I haven't been to Istanbul any time besides when it was the summer. So I haven't seen, the weather, and it gets really nice, I think, because it doesn't snow in Istanbul, right?
No, it snows in winter. Now it's
Oh,
now
okay.
it's early for snow.
Yeah. But do you guys get a lot of snow or
No,
not a lot,
I
I
think
thought?
no. Servet knows well, but it's no, not much. Is that
Yeah.
correct,
Yeah,
Servet?
where I live, it snows, but it's not like Russia or Canada. When it snows for a while. You can see the snow on the ground, but after a week it melts, and maybe for a month or so you don't have snow again.
Yeah.
So
We
it is
have
not
some
like a
cities.
city. It is snowy whole winter, or when it snows, you see the snow. It doesn't melt throughout the whole winter. No, it's not like it snows. You see the snow, and after a while it melts, and it's again the same.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I know people in Bursa ski, Tajuddin, people in Bursa, they go up to Uludağ and there's that ski resort, so they ski there. But maybe there are other places near Istanbul where people can ski. Unfortunately, I have no idea. I've only been there in the summer.
In Erzurum, there is another ski center. There is another ski center in Turkey. Erzurum is the famous ski center. There was an Olympic winter sport. I guess 3 years ago in Erzurum.
Erzurum is in the Far East, right?
Palandöken. Yes, eastern part of Turkey.
Yeah, Eastern Anatolia. Nice. Yeah, no, there's so much to see. I have to visit. I have to come back.
It is located Palandöken. The mountain, the mountain is Palandöken.
Palandöken.
Yes.
Nice. That's awesome. When I was in Bursa, I met one student from Erzurum, and he told me come to Erzurum. Hello, how's it going?
Hello, it's going well. Thank you.
Good. How do I pronounce your name? Is it pronounced Tajettin?
Yes, Tajettin. My name is Tajettin. Yes.
Are you from Turkey, Tajettin?
Yes, I am from Turkey. Where are you from?
Çok güzel. I'm from the United States. Ben biraz Türkçe biliyorum. Biraz.
Evet, çok güzel.
Teşekkürler.
Çok sevindim.
I was in Turkey in Ağustos from about just the last week of August. So I was in Istanbul for one week.
1 week.
Yeah.
You stayed 1 week in Istanbul.
I was in Istanbul 1 week, but 2 years ago I lived in Bursa for about 2 months.
Have you got any friends or relatives in Turkey?
I just have friends. Yeah, there's no...
Friends, you have friends. Okay.
Yeah, kardeşlerim.
Kardeşlerim.
Arkadaşlarım, excuse me.
Arkadaşlar, yes.
Evet. But yeah, it's a very beautiful country. I want to visit Bursa. This last time when I went to Turkey, I wasn't able to go to Bursa, but Bursa is my favorite city. What part of
Bursa.
Turkey?
I live in southern part of Turkey. Hatay.
Antalya? Oh,
Hatay.
Hatay. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Great, that's wonderful.
Yes.
You were saying something about Bursa, actually.
Yes, Bursa is a green city. Actually, it was more green in the past. But nowadays there are some skyscrapers and many high buildings.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes,
Hello? হ্যাঁ উসে সবকিছু ডান কলিং শিখে তারপরে চলে যাবো সবকিছু সেট হ্যাঁ ওকে হ্যাঁ কোনো অসুবিধা নেই ওকে খোদা হাফেজ come to, like Rize, like Trabzon, Samsun, all those cities in the north. He said it was a very nice place. But if I can go back, I would go to two places. I would go to Cappadocia. I want to see Konya, and I also want to see definitely Karadeniz, so the north. Yeah,
Yes.
because it's beautiful. Maybe Hatay also, Tajuddin. I
Yes.
haven't thought of Hatay.
Yes, I will be happy if you visit Hatay.
Yeah, it's nice. Hatay is beautiful from what I hear. The culture is very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Multicultural society. There is a multicultural society in Hatay. There are many different religious people,
Uh-huh.
Muslims, Christians, Jewish, and Arab, Turkish. There are different ethnic origins, and they live within peace together in Hatay. It's
Yeah.
an example.
It's exactly. It's a rare example in the Muslim world, right? Usually in the Muslim world we don't have such peace between different groups. But yeah, Turkey is great. Turkey, I was not disappointed at all. Wherever I went, people were very welcoming. Hospitality is on another level. I mean, because my parents are from Bangladesh, we are very hospitable also, especially if it's a foreign person, if it's guests. We really try to show our best, to the travelers. Turkey was another level higher. I don't know. I mean, very, very nice people. So it was great. Well, guys, let's get started then. Thank you for coming once again. We're about 12 minutes past the hour. Just wanted to give you guys a quick overview of what we're going to be discussing today. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about, the grammar lesson for today is actually using prepositions to and for in advanced situations. So we use to and for many times to describe other kinds of prepositions, like when you're talking about a destination,